Charlottesville City Council. This is an established, known name in this community. We're going to spend just under an hour with this known commodity on the I Love CVille show. Immediately, I see the newspaper and 2 TV stations watching the program. This candidate will be in the news cycle within 72 hours, maybe 4 days tops. He will be on every platform possible. Give the show a like and a share. Charlottesville, this is history being made here. Another candidate enters the mix. We currently have Yaz Washington, Juan Diego Wade, Brian Pinkston, and Mayor Nikia Walker running for what is the most important election in Charlottesville, Virginia history. We have a new individual jumping into the forum, someone who is seasoned and ready to be an agent of positive change. Seasoned like a fine wine. How's that? Seasoned like a fine wine. Judah Wickhauer is our director. My friend, we can start this program when you are ready. Guys, welcome to the program. My name is Jerry Miller. It's very good to be with you. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. This, the I Love CVille show, presented by Ting Crazy Fast Internet. The best internet powers this network. You get the best value through ilovecville.ting.com, a $288 savings. Folks, we are making history today on this network. I see 4 states and every media outlet in town currently watching this program. And I know why you're watching. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Why don't we go to the studio camera? We are making news right now. Charlottesville, Virginia. You see this gentleman on screen. I'm out of your way. The show is yours. Carl Brown.
Carl Brown. I just want to announce today that I've decided to run for city council. It's been a windy road because initially, from a personal standpoint, I probably wouldn't have run, but the people speak. And just in conversations, those individuals that I find true to me in my circle kind of push me, kind of say this is what is needed. And so this is not coming from a personal place. This is coming from the need of my community and understanding what this community needs to get us started. I can provide. I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you that I will work and give you a positive attitude in getting those answers.
So that's the breaking news on the program. Carl Brown entering the forum, running for Charlottesville City Council. Let's spend some time with the new Charlottesville City Council candidate. First, how about the flip book of you in Charlottesville? When did it start? How long you been here? Do you live in city limits? Who's Carl Brown?
Who is Carl Brown? I start number one. I think this is my time, and I say that I was born and raised in Charlottesville. I attended Venable School, Walker School, and Charlottesville High School, graduated, but I think it goes a little deeper than that. And when you talk about my background, my grandfather, and I just drove by his sign, which was affirmation, came to Charlottesville in the 40s and made a way for his family then by, building good relationships and being able to purchase land and give his family an opportunity to prosper in a town that most people felt that a black man or a man of color wouldn't prosper. He was able to purchase the land on 12th Street, and for a time it was only my family who lived on that block. So it was 6 houses on there that he purchased at that point in time. And as a youngster, I remember him always taking this older white gentleman, and I don't remember his name. My family will remind me, a brown paper bag, and that represented his mortgage at that point in time for all of those properties. So I grew up with my family on 12th Street. I come from a different part of town. There's a different narrative, and no one narrative speaks for Charlottesville because we all have our own experiences, black, white, or indifferent. From my standpoint, I come from what's called Preston Heights. And so this may be an introduction to a lot of people.
Preston Heights?
Preston Heights.
Okay. What's the parameter of Preston Heights?
Preston Heights was separated by the railroad tracks at Bodo's.
Okay.
So everything down was the Vinegar Hill area that we hear about most often. Preston Heights was everything going up. So you're talking about the neighborhoods of Forest Street, Henry Avenue, 12th Street.
Did it go as far as Rose Hill?
And it went that far. There were people that lived that far, but it was those were also blacks in the community who had just purchased homes on their own. Just for a little history, when I go into just productivity, Forest Street area was the area that produced Carter Buford and the whole Buford family,
Dave Matthews Band.
Leroy Moore, the whole Dave. 3 of the 5 Dave Matthews Bands came within that one street where they could walk to each other's house and do whatever it is what they were going to do. So that's where that comes from. If you want a little historical view of Forest Street, that's just one area. In that same area, right off of Henry, was the Wilson family, who were prevalent in sports. Eric Wilson was the first All-American in this town that got noticed when they were.
Is that Denzel's uncle or
that's
father?
That's Denzel's father.
Father.
That's
okay.
father. But he had a brother, Mark, and Ralph. And so it was the Wilson family on that same block, in that same area. And then Miss Buford, who was Carter's mother, kind of nurtured us because she was the park and rec head, and she made sure we were always good in the summertime. So that was a family sect amongst all the people who grew up on Forest Street. And then we go further, we go to the Charlton Avenue area, who had some former the Shacklefords, I know the Ivies. I mean, there were a bunch of people that came there who don't. The Harrises. Eddie Harris comes from that area. And then we go to my area, which were the Browns and B. Walkers and the Bryants. And so there's this other dynamic of Charlottesville that doesn't get talked about, and it was called Preston Height. And everybody who's from Preston Height know about the Height. And so we're not the type of people from the Height were taught to work. You're going to get what you're going to get out of this by working. And I'm not saying everybody didn't. I'm talking about my experience. I'm not saying other people didn't work. I'm just saying too often where I come from. I come from the Height. So our teachers, Drury Brown. I live right down the street from Drury Brown, and I'm talking about down the street a minute and run out of my house. I could be in his house in 30 seconds. And so I was kind of his Dennis the Menace up until the point where he decided that I was old enough to kind of hear what he was doing and what the impact of me being a black man and representing myself in all the endeavors that I'm going to do. So I had a chance after I went to college to be able to sit with him in his latter years and talk about structure and talk about coordination and organization. I grew up in a time where I used to sneak in my grandfather's church, and it would be him, Drury Brown, R.A. Johnson, Ada Lewis, all of them talking about the community, and they would say, "Get out of here, boy." And I would watch, and I didn't know what was going on. They were organizing. So I come from that. And so in lieu of all those people from my family to my mom passing me on to Garwin Dibber, that was a whole nother level of my development in terms of me understanding becoming a man. And it wasn't just me. And so that's the beautiful. I don't have an isolated childhood where I'm the only person that did it. Most of the people around me who wanted to do it did it. And so we all kind of have a similar experience in terms of how we were we are not victims. We never looked at it as victims. Those were barriers that we had to overcome. And I have that kind of attitude. And I don't compete against people. I compete against myself because that's the most important thing.
Let me throw this to you. And I want to turn this into a sizzle reel that we can play throughout the week, Judah. So let's mark this time here and start with the question I'm about to ask him. We're going to turn this into a highlight clip. So we'll start with my question here. The breaking news here on the show is that Carl Brown, born and raised in Charlottesville, has decided to enter the forum into the ring, has decided to put his name on the ballot, and Carl Brown will run for Charlottesville City Council. Why did you make this decision now? And the reason I'm going to ask this question to you is, you love this town, you were born and raised in this town. This town is searching for an identity. This town is searching for some healing. This town is searching for a direction to go. This is no easy task. Why have you decided to run for city council?
In terms of why, it's about the people. So I consulted with a lot of different people. I know a lot of different people on a lot of different ramps. So I didn't go to one. I mean, I went family. I went my colleagues. I went a bunch of different angles. I went to the reentry population I work with. I went to people who look at it. I went to every aspect, and I didn't get a no. And that was the whole thing. And I think if I had gotten one no, I would probably say that's the doubt.
So your family said, your support system, the network said, let's do it.
This is, and it kind of segues because we plan and God laugh. And I say that in terms of I got my own plans in my head, what I thought it was going to be. Like, I never saw myself in this position. But God's plan is the people will speak. And just off a conversation, it became a conversation that I think one-on-one, people who know me know I wouldn't entertain it because I'm not that kind of dude off of the perception of politics itself.
Why? Because politics is a dirty business?
Well, politics has so many nuances. It can be viewed as a dirty business, but as we see now, and part of it's a lot of different things because I attended the HBCU, and so
Which ones you go to?
Norfolk State University.
Okay.
Spartans represent always, do or die.
You got a reporter outside.
And so in terms of
the office right now, waiting for you. Do you see the reporter?
I see the reporter. Yeah. In terms of just that in itself. So Charlottesville, I left Charlottesville and went to the next phase of my life. And part of me getting to that phase, I was kind of prepped by people from Charlottesville who said, you need to be doing this, and went to Norfolk State. And that experience took me to a whole nother level. And so when you hear the HBCU experience, I know people got so many different views about it or what they think it is. But from our standpoint as an HBCU, we are taught that excellence, there is no other thing but excellence. We're here for excellence, and we will go out in this world at some point to do big things. HBCU prepares you for that. And so in terms of competition, there is no competition. When we talk about white and black and all of that, when you go in a room and there's all of you, that's the competition. You now become the competition because you can't use that as an excuse of, well, they gave it to this white. We are all competing to be the best in that realm, which makes all of us better well-rounded because we are now working at high levels.
All right, let's roll this to Charlottesville.
Charlottesville.
Okay. Charlottesville, Virginia here. Let's talk about the platform. Open-ended question. Carl Brown's platform, why folks should vote for Carl Brown.
Number one, I was born and raised here, and I probably know more about the ins and outs of Charlottesville than most people, only because of my 53 years. I've been here all of but 8 of those years, and coming back was something that kind of burned in me because I had other opportunities, but I feel like I was kind of primed for this. All those teachings, all those individuals who kind of mentored me, kind of prepared me for this. And so I think this is my time. Without it being what I was going to initially do, you just never know. But I think this is my time. I think we need to bring some calm and just some leadership that can get things done. And in no way am I saying I'm going to get everything done, but I will bring my maximum effort and a positive attitude every time I come. I understand this is not about me, so I'm not going against anyone. I wish everybody well, and I think everybody's going to bring something good to the table with the youth of Yasmin, with the experience of Juan. I don't know much about Pinkston, but I know he has been prevalent in his community in whatever aspect. I want to get to talk to him and find out what that is. And so win, lose, or draw, we still have these parameters where we have new ideas and we can get to a point where we can work together. This is not me competing against any of them. This is me getting people to get to know me and understand what I bring to the table. And probably my most valuable asset is my ability to lead people. I've done it in this community many times. Many of the successes that we see in individuals, I had a hand in without even having to say I had a hand in, and that's how I work. I don't need to brag and boast about what we do. We need to get the work done and be progressive in what we're trying to achieve in this city to get back on our feet. So we kind of hit the reset button, and I like the reset button because that means we get to start from scratch.
Thank you, Kelly Lewis, on the compliment on the haircut. We appreciate that. James Watson says you are a true role model and leader in this community. You legitimately have every media outlet in town watching this announcement. I mean, every single one. Throw this question to you, and you brought this up earlier in the interview. Okay, leadership. This is me talking. This is not you talking. This is me talking. When I'm watching the city council meetings, like everyone in this community, and I see the bickering and the name calling, and I see the arguing and this is done by the 5 counselors that lead the city in a public forum. From my standpoint, and I'm just the layman, I'm the dumb guy in the city here. From my standpoint, that does not look like leadership to me. How does someone like Carl Brown come in and bring this leadership to the dais?
Well, I'm not someone who, I mean, first of all, those are when you're talking about, that becomes personal. And one of the things I understand just in my own self-development is I understand that I can only control me. So I'm not going to come in the room and try to control anybody. I can't even control my own kids. And I say that in a way that you would hope that you give and provide and teach your kids the right way, that when they have to come to you or a decision is made,
they make the right decision.
They make the right decision because of your influence. And there are many times that, you know, a kid, and that doesn't guarantee that I have control over that. That just means that my influence on him made him make the right decision off of my dad would do this or not. That's not the case with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I do understand it. What I will bring is the leadership that we all need to understand that. None of us, I can't make anybody do anything, and I'm not going to force it. I'm not a demanding person, but I will command that. And so we need to understand off the top that we always need to maintain a level of respect. We can agree to disagree. I'm big on that. I've done it too many times. But it never needs to get to a point where it's taking up so much time that is the cure-all, end-all, and that's a conversation. And so there's some, just in general, and I'm not saying it's one or the other, because again, I'm not coming on here to talk about anybody. I can only control me and what's going on there. I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? I go about things a little differently, and in terms of my work, I would be able to address, say, listen, we need to really get down to the personal, because it looks personal. I mean, just by perception, and I don't know if it is or not. I can't say, because I haven't talked to them, and you don't know. You only know that when you talk to a person and say, well, this is my issue with this person.
Well, I mean, we've had the counselors on the show, and they have said it does feel personal.
And so when you're talking about a whole city, personal needs to be personal. We need to be able to sit down and discuss what our issues are amongst ourselves. This is personal. It doesn't need to be an open debate. That's kind of like an oxymoron. We got personal issues, but we're going to do it in front of everybody else. That's not, let's me and you talk as adults and talk about whatever it is for the sake of moving forward. We got to get the community moving and get some confidence in the potential of what can be. Coming from Charlottesville, I've seen the bad so many times, and I've seen the goods so many times. And this is not the first. It's just the now. And so we live in a here and now kind of thing, and we forget all about the now and then. These events that occurred in Charlottesville, there have been other events that have been nationalized that Charlottesville has done with in the past. Charlottesville High School, when I was in high school, we had a riot for a whole week off of the same premise. Somebody sprayed a derogatory statement on the wall. We saw when we came in, all-out blast. What the difference was in that, and there was chaos.
There was no social media.
Well, it was no social media, so you got it when you got there. It wasn't no real control, so no most people did. Well, I mean, from a media standpoint, this got all the way to USA Today. So, but in saying that, one of the things that occurred that was amazing to me is those black leaders within the school brought calm to it. The T. Lewises, the Garvin D. Berries, the Curtis Elders, the Mr. Mavericks. Those individuals taught us in that generation. And I think it's very important that you look at that generation, that 80s generation. That's when Charlottesville High School probably was at its height in terms of everything. Productivity, kids going to school, leaving the community, all of those things, athletics, all of those things. But we also learned leadership. And we learned the hard way. We had to go through a ride to learn it. But I do recall the calm that came with it when those leaders brought us into a gym and said, listen, I understand what y'all saying, but you're not going to do it that way. You're not going to win that. You're going to jail. Now, let me show you. W.T. Lewis is somebody that most people that know me, that's dear to my heart, and he passed. And he taught me, I had like 15 years to spend with him regularly. And he is probably the smartest man I've ever met. And so it's touching because he's not here. But in lieu of him, he taught me so much, how to look at things from different perspectives. You can't look at things from one perspective. You only get one view. Sit back and look at things from every perspective. And so I've learned how to do that. So I'm not coming like I'm just going for the black. I'm going for everybody. too often we get caught up on that, and we got to understand it's going to take everybody to move. And if everybody eating, then nobody's hungry. But we got to work that so people to understand. And now everybody's not going to get that, but that's going to be the formula we have as a community going to have to work.
So people are responding well to Carl Brown's use of the word "we." And I'll give you an example. The dynamic aspect of this show is you, the viewer and the listener, can offer questions and comments in the Facebook section, on Twitter, on Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching. And I can relay that stuff to Carl Brown. Here's an example. Dan, is it Hairline?
Dan Erline.
Dan Erline. He says, "We is the best word used here. This is a great man for city council." Keith Brown says you look like a freaking model right now. Keith Brown's giving you.
And so it's important when you hear some of these people, and I think people think, you'll look.
We got questions coming in for you.
Okay, well, let me just put this out there. What people don't know is my generation who've gone on, Charlottesville has a different perspective. A lot of the people that I grew up with left Charlottesville. I am the last of the Mohicans. So most of the people I went to school with, most of them are not here. But I still have contact. Well, we're in our 50s now. Guess where they're trying to come back to?
To Charlottesville.
Charlottesville.
Because it's a great place to live.
Because that's where they come from, and they want to protect their city. That's what they know. And so what they hear out here, that's a different perspective for them. So they're trying to figure out what's going on, because that's not the Charlottesville that I know. And it's not to say that Charlottesville is open to everybody if you want to be a part of Charlottesville. And for anybody that want to come in here and think you're going to make it your own, you're wrong. I don't care what color you are. You can't just look at it from one angle, because there are a lot of little nuances about Charlottesville. Now, once you get to learn those nuances, you'll find out relationships are going to be your best asset in Charlottesville.
Let's talk about what you just brought up. Have you considered the magnitude of this decision? I mean, the murder of George Floyd is still fresh. August 12, 2017 is still fresh. We're still You are a leader. You are born and raised. You are a black man. You are connected, and you're trying to make a difference. Have you considered the magnitude of this decision from like a historical impact?
He's talking about history, man. I'm not even going to look at history until, history ain't history until I've done what I've done. I've done anything but say I'm going to run. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about history, the mere fact that, and I'm being honest with you, the mere fact just because I'm saying I'm running for this election right now and it's history, it's kind of insult to me because I haven't done anything. So in terms of pressure, we just going off of perception. I'm not coming up.
It's a reflection of Charlottesville's history.
Well, Charlottesville history, listen, and so Charlottesville history, we are to the point that we don't want to repeat it. If we want to leave it right where it is, if the last thing we're going to talk about, and you said it, the highlights of Charlottesville right now are reflected on the George Floyd's murder. Listen, let me hit you onto this. I don't have to go to George Floyd to look at the murder. I got a young man that I was very close to recently get murdered on First Street. I don't need to go to George Floyd, and he won't murdered by the police. And this is not, I connect with this community. So that hurts. I'm more concerned about people running around here killing people I know for no reason. And now I'm not downplaying the police because that's a whole nother issue.
And I'll ask about that.
But I want to get down and dirty to Charlottesville. I know people from Charlottesville grew up with just dying in the streets, and ain't no justification for that. I got a problem with that because that's my Charlottesville. George Floyd, they doing what they do for him, and I'm not disrespecting that. This goes on. It just adds on. But I'm more concerned about my people getting killed directly.
The significance of my statement was more to do with this. We're in this community that we call Charlottesville, that we pride ourselves, or better yet, a better phrase is, we want it to be diverse. We want it to be diverse. But when we look at elected leadership in Charlottesville has some commonalities. And this is me talking, not you. And do you know what those commonalities for elected leadership? Of course you do, because you follow it just as closely as I do. They're all white and old. Okay? You look at the history of elected officials that have served on the dais in Charlottesville, Virginia, and they have commonalities of being white people who are old. From my standpoint, having someone that's born and raised in this community, someone that can offer a completely different perspective, is refreshing and invigorating.
And I appreciate that, but in terms of that, listen, when you talk about what it's been. We don't have to go into, whatever. If you continue to do what you've always done, then you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. So you just described it up until this point, and that's not just Charlottesville. But what we see, and that goes back to the HBCU. If you look, when I look out this whole scope and why I'm doing this and that, there's me, but you got to understand those connections with the HBCU, that's another whole family. You understand? That's what we taught. HBCUs, I don't care which one it is. You can
Did
name
Fitzgerald Barnes go to Norfolk State?
Who?
Fitzgerald Barnes?
Fitzgerald Barnes went to Virginia State.
Oh, Virginia State.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a big fan of Fitz Barnes.
Yeah. The whole point is we family, so we want each other to excel. So when I look out into the world and I see Kamala Harris and they giving Howard love, and I sort of look at Warnock and they doing what they doing, it's our time. You are told at some point, and I don't want to make, and again, that's one of those experiences, unless you've done it, you don't know. But when I talk about HBCUs, and when you're there and the grind that you're going to put in and what you're working for, it's our time. And so I went some years ago, and now this is my time. I need to be that leader because I got people, most of the kids I know around here go to HBCUs. They want examples. They may need to come back later on and do what I'm doing after, of which, you know what I'm saying? I just want people to know I'm different, and I'm not trying to be your traditional. I'm trying to get things done. I'm a born leader. I know the scopes of Charlottesville. I am approachable and relatable. I'm a transparent person, so I'm going to be open to any conversations. Now, I may not be able to answer your question right then, but I can guarantee you that I will get my homework done and get back to you, and we'll be able to discuss whatever, because I'm a detail-oriented person. But, I mean, I focus on me, and I'm going to be the best me. And so I am my competition. Yes, Washington, I love her to death. She's my sweetheart. Whatever I can do to help her along the way in this, so if nothing else she learns, I'm not going to isolate her and put her in a position where she feel bad. Now I want her to learn this process because she'll be back. I want Juan to bring everything he brings to the table because he has some experience and he went to an HBCU. We went to Norfolk State at the same time, but we didn't know each other.
I didn't know that.
So I want
you and Juan were at Norfolk State together?
Yeah, he went to Norfolk State. I think he was a little older than I was.
Okay.
And Brian, I don't know much about Brian, but I'm not going to get on here with whatever. Listen, he brings something to the table. So everything collectively we can use. I don't want to be like, oh, well, I got it, and you're going to do mine. I need all of that. We're going to need every piece. We're going to need everybody. It's almost, and I'm a team sports guy, and then maybe that's what makes it different. Team sports requires everybody to do their job if you're going to win. Every single person, from the kicker to the holder. So we can't look at the quarterback and say he get everything.
That's all your fault. And he can't get all the props either.
Everything clicks.
Right.
Everything clicks. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing here. We got to be a team. I'm not coming in here and saying, yeah, I'm the cure-all, end-all. I'm saying I'm going to get in a way where we're going to be confident and get people understanding it's not like the same personal. Let's get to work and make some hard-line decisions and get people moving and show them results. I don't want to keep talking about stuff. Either we're going to have excuses or we're going to have results. We can't have both.
Hard-line decisions. Comments are coming in about hard-line decisions. Can I ask you those questions?
You can ask me now, but like I said, this is a 1-hour interview, and so in terms of doing it on a Facebook, I can answer any question you want to do, but I mean, you're not going to get the root. Now, over the course of this campaign and those different questions I get, and I can do my research on them,
sure,
we'll have an opportunity to answer all those questions.
Well, let's talk about this one. This is a general.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't have them, but I'm just saying in general.
Sure.
I'm not going to ask everybody a question today just because I'm just announcing.
The police department, Charlottesville Police Department, is the second largest line item on the budget. And one of the items is, where's the money going? How about this, a general question? Identifying where money is going and its importance to you. Because many in this community are screaming at the top of Carter's Mountain that we want to see line items for taxpayer spending, whether it's the police department, whether it's the school board.
And you just said it right
Whether
there.
it's credit cards. We're all screaming for accountability and more transparency.
And so you just hit it on the head.
Is that wrong?
There's nothing wrong with doing that. And in terms of me coming in, I need to see everything. And I want to see the whole budget. I mean, that's where you start. You have to see everything. You understand what I'm saying? And that would be my thing about that. From a city budget, we as taxpayers need to know where our money going. We spend a lot of money. And then we get the coronavirus coming in, as a small business, I didn't get a lot of relief, but I pay taxes, but I'm not mad. I'll survive it. I'm just saying in general, I'm not specifying one, whatever. As a city, we need to be able to say, we need to know what all of our money is and how it's being spent. That's it. I mean, that's a starting point. And I'm not saying they're not, regardless of how you spend, I'm not justifying saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not saying that to say you're wrong or you should. All I'm saying is let's see what we're spending so we can be a little more cost effective in how we spend. Or look at it. Maybe what you're doing is, or whoever, and I'm not, again, specifying one or the other, whether it's school, whoever, maybe what we're doing, we can be more efficient with it. And that's what it's about, cost efficiency. We got to be able to grow and utilize the reason. Charlottesville is really a small business town. Everything here is unique in its own way. And so you look at it now, it's not even funny to watch, but it's kind of odd to watch me seeing Charlottesville in all the realms. And some of the things that like to see Dirty Nelly's not in existence. And to see, some of these restaurants that I grew up with and played in and know the bartenders and know the impact of a community and what they do when they're closed. I mean, that's what made us during the period. And so we got the lowlights of hard. Listen, there was a time when Charlottesville was the hotbed of music in the country. In the country, not, when Dave and them were doing what they were doing, you wouldn't believe how many musicians were in this town doing other stuff and got an opportunity. I got friends that got a chance to go on tour with Dave and them just off of some local stuff. The town was booming. And a lot of that was because of our local feel and our small business feel. It wasn't something that you could go to another city and get.
Vanessa Parkhill says it's always good to know where the money goes. I agree, Vanessa Parkhill. More comments coming in for support for you. I want to emphasize this. We know the influence we have here at I Love CVille. We reached over 250,000 people last year. That's more than any media outlet in town, and it's not even close, folks. The police department gets $18.9 million from taxpayers, $18.9 million, which is 9.9% of Charlottesville City's municipality's budget. I'll repeat those numbers again. The police department gets $18.9 million, 9.9% of the budget, and frankly, we don't know where that $18.9 million is going. As Lloyd Snook said in the last council meeting, it seems to be a black box where this money's going, meaning he has no insight. Only schools get more money from Charlottesville. Charlottesville City Schools get $58.7 million. That's the top funded department in Charlottesville. The police department is number 2. Throw this. What is the relationship between, say, the Charlottesville Police Department and the Charlottesville community? What is the relationship with the Charlottesville Police Department and the black community in Charlottesville, Virginia? Because there seems to be two sides here in this community. There's one side that's very loudly saying, defund the police. And then there's another side saying, no, let's not defund the police because we have shootings happening in vulnerable pockets in our community, and we have to figure out what's happening here. What's your take?
Distraction. I'm gonna sum it up like this because again, that's like me just looking at it from another view, and I know police officers and my relationship. And so if you go off of what I know from the people, most of the dismay and concerns, I know those individuals. You understand that have those concerns. But I also know police officers, and so I'm not going to place everything that occurs in the police department on a particular police officer.
Thank you.
And that's why I'm big on individualism. I'm big on let's go in and individualize. One of the things when we group, that's the distraction, because if one police officer does something, you say the police department, no, now you're putting every officer that I know in this who may not have been into it. Now, what I will say, and I'm going to let this be loud and clear, we're going to hold individual police officers. Yeah. Individual police officers who are involved in situations, due process, and not put an indictment on a whole police department. Because I know too many people, I know officers who do good. and who have it. I don't know them all, and I know there's some instances, but we need to let them know that we're going to be transparent about this, and because you do something, it's not going to be a reflection on the whole police department. It's going to be a reflection on your actions at that particular time, and we're going to go through the protocol.
What do you think of Charlottesville's police chief, Chief Brackney?
What I think of her? I mean, in terms of what? I guess she's a good person. I've never.
What kind of job do you think she's doing?
In terms of what? I mean,
the performance of the police department, the trust built with the police department within the community. Recently,
I think there's some things that segue into that. I think it's been hard. If you say, has she bridged that gap that was already created before she got here? Probably not, because it's been other things that occurred. So you can't put that all on her in terms of, because she came in just much like me. She came in a hot item. She came in after it was a full riot. You understand? So she had her work cut out in terms of establishing those relationships to welcome. I will say this: I have seen her out in the community trying to be a little more personable, but I don't put a lot of stock into it because I think her job is a little different, and I don't know enough about her job. And so I don't know enough in terms of her job. I see there's been some promotions, and so I see it on both sides. So individuals who usually probably wouldn't be promoted are now getting promoted. There needs to be some other individuals, so we need to keep that going. But I mean, overall, she's doing the best she can. I mean, I can't answer that question for her, and if I don't know her job description. I don't know what the agreement was. Maybe it was in her agreement that you don't have to turn in your line item by them. See, I don't know that kind of stuff, so I don't want to attack somebody. What I will say is, whatever agreement you had, that agreement is out the door. We're now going to approach it from a different standpoint.
If you're elected.
If I'm elected.
Okay, so let's say this here.
We'll approach it from, we need to see it, right, wrong, and different. This is just transparency. And if everything you do, I mean, who's to say? It may stay that way. Just for the sake of it, we can shift some stuff. There's always room to get better in every area of Charlottesville. We have no area division in this community that can't stand to get better. So nobody gets a pass. Everybody, we're working to get better. We ain't working to judge. I ain't looking to say, oh, you did this. And even if it is like that, we're going to correct it in a way and say, let's make this work and be able to do some stuff where we can build better relations with the police and the community. And I've already done that before, but that takes people. You got to get the right people moving. You got to get people in the community who are willing to initiate that. You're not just going to be able to throw out some program and say, let's do this. You need people already on it. And we have good people in Charlottesville, but they get overlooked. So, I mean, utilize the resources you have here to get back to where we want to go. That's how they've always done it. The people of Charlottesville, the real people of Charlottesville, who don't say anything and go about their merry way and work. They just want somebody to lead them. And I think I can do that.
Georgia Gilmer says, I'm loving Carl Brown's attitude toward our town. We love Charlottesville too. Laura Navarez is watching on Goodman in Belmont. And she says, I've loved this interview. I've watched from start to finish. I have some questions for the candidate if you're taking them. Sure.
Sure. Go ahead and
put them in the feed. Any questions you have? George Swingler is giving you some props. Mary Brown giving you some props. Keith is saying, don't forget Mr. Bryant.
If I get, and so here it is, if I start naming, our interview is going to end early if I just go through.
Right, because you know so many people.
But if I may, I want to pinpoint some people, because when you reflect, and I always reflect, it's important that you reflect on what you come. And so where I am is not who I am. You understand? What you see, I come from so much more. You understand? And so there are a lot of different people that I represent that taught me something. And I think it's important that, you know, you utilize that to become, because I can do that for somebody else, and that's what I'm going to do for this community. Just understanding all the little nuances of it and the influence. I'm a listener, and so I'm not somebody who can't be, you know, taught. I'm not going to be like, oh, I know it all. I don't know it all. I know a lot, but I don't know it all. But Kathy Harris. Shout out to Kathy Harris. And she would have never in her million years thought that I would bring this up, but I tell her this all the time. When I was in the 7th grade.
7th grade where?
7th grade at Walker Elementary.
7th grade at Walker Elementary.
Walker Middle School.
Walker Middle
is upper elementary now. I had Miss Kathy Harris, and anybody who's ever had her already know you're going to work. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I ain't trying to hear it. So I was in her class, and her class was, that class I was in, I think, was like an advanced class. And so it was only like a couple of us in there that were black.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because back in those days, you know, it kind of separated you. That wasn't no secret. If you were in a class and I walked in a class and there ain't but a couple of black kids in there, then you're in upper class. You don't know that, but it's treated like that.
You knew it.
Well, I didn't know it at the time. I just knew I was in her class. Now, you look back on it, it was an upper class, but it's all good. Most of the classes were like that. You knew if you were in the upper class or not, just by the dynamics of the room. You know what I'm saying? You just know that. But in her class, I took it as, I'm just going to do what I do and all of that. And I did a report, and I thought I did a great job on this report. It was about dogs. So I did dog species and took my time and broke it down and sent it to her, and I turned it in. And she said, come here. She said, I know you think this good, but you can do better. So I want you to take this back and do better. And initially I was frustrated, like, well, I did it. And she was like, nah. You need to understand going forward, it's not just important to be good. You need to be working for greatness. And she said that. I took the report home, looked at it. I said, now I need to bring visuals in. Now I need to correct the wording I'm doing. Now I need to put it in book form. And I did that. You know, I took that challenge and turned it in. And so she passed all of them back, and I didn't get mine. And she took it and she said, I want to show you an example of when you really put time and understand your greatness in front of the class.
And she highlighted you.
And she highlighted what I had done after she had known that. And I never forgot that. And from that point on, sports, academics, I always took that. And I still tell her that. And Garwin DeBerry never gave me jack. And I could be
Garwin DeBerry was the legendary football coach at Charles.
And he had them all. And he never gave me jack. But I'll tell you what he did do. At that time, I wasn't ready. And too often do we try to get ready. We want opportunities, but we got to get ready. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
I got a job interview, but I got to get ready. Nah.
I want to be the starting quarterback of the football team, but I can't throw a 15-yard slant.
Well, it ain't even that. You want to be the starting quarterback, but you haven't gone to workouts.
Can't read the playbook.
None of that.
Yeah.
So that means you got to get ready.
Sure.
I didn't get a get ready. You're going to play when you are ready. It's a difference. Be ready.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to be Garwin DeBerry. Why are you ready for city council?
It's my time.
Why?
Why is it my time? My experiences, the time of which it is, and the very essence of what they need is leadership. And so
Kevin Higgins is watching. How do you repair an obvious fractured relationship on the dais? You know what's crazy? Okay, I follow this so closely. You follow it closely. A lot of folks, they can't even see past the bickering to get to the meat of the bones, like the policy and the decision-making and the actual substance they're doing. They can't see past the bickering to the actual pop, the proof of performance that's happening. How do you bridge a fractured relationship that seems to have been fractured for some time now on the dais? We've had 5 city managers. Who have we had? We've had Maurice, we've had Mike Murphy, we've had Dr. Richardson, we've had John Blair, and now we have Chip. 5 city managers, all within Nakia Walker's 4-year term.
All right, again, here it is again. Choices. Nakia didn't vote herself in.
That's true.
Lloyd didn't vote himself in.
True.
Heather didn't vote herself in.
Agreed.
Michael Payne didn't vote himself in.
Touche.
And Suna didn't vote herself in.
Cena didn't either.
They ran for positions. And the people of this community voted for them. So in terms of asking me as one individual with one vote, how do I change that? In terms from my position right now, I'm running a campaign to show what I bring to the table. So I can't get caught up on them because they already established they're there. They are already the council. Now, just in conversations, there are some issues within their council. I'm not on that council. Now, if you're asking me personally if I could have won it, first of all, that's what I do. So first of all, we want to find out the individuals, because I've spoken to all, I know all, and so I'm not knocking anybody, is when you, as a coach, it's my responsibility. I'm always responsible as a coach for at least 5 different personalities to do one thing. You understand? And you got to know all those personalities. I don't know all those personalities. Now, I'm sure if I came in from a consultant standpoint and sat with them off the record, that we would be able to get into the meat and potatoes of what's really going on and be able to move forward and how we do it forward. I didn't come on to that, so I'm not that. You don't get the consultant. I am now a candidate, so in terms of how do I fix that, I now come out the press box. This is how I'm looking at it. From a team standpoint, I'm in the press box. The field is on, I'm still part of the Charlottesville team, but I'm in the press box. I'm doing some other things. I'm looking at coverages and all that, reporting to somebody else. But you got coaches, and you got assistant coaches, and you got a bunch of players, right? And we're trying to win as a team, as Charlottesville, as a team, right? But there's some disconnects. We keep coming up short. You know, we're not getting the wins. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on the box and I'm saying, well, we need to look at this. Let's run off tackle, but we going outside. And so we get stagnated. And so my voice, though is impactful, ain't on the sidelines. You understand? And so I use this terminology because there have been instances where I've had to come out the press box because I've asked what to do, and my value is better with the individuals to get everybody to understand what we're doing. So at the end of the day, whether you like me or not, or you like whoever giving you when we go perform, we're going to win. By just doing your job, and you do your job, and you do your job, and you do your job. And it was my job to get everybody to understand, and I'm going to do this. So I'm going to prepare us for the next phase, for the next game. I got to do that on the field. And so that's where I'm at. I'm just coming back to the field and making my impact. Am I the head coach? No. But I may have that eye to say, guess what, they're getting ready to blitz us right now. Call it off.
What'd your wife say? What was the advice your wife said? What was the conversation? I want to be a fly
Listen, that conversation was short and sweet.
It was yes, it was you're crazy, it was no, it was you make the call. What was it?
Yes, you should have did it a long time ago.
She said yes, you should have done it a long time ago.
Not from anything that's going on. She just knows me.
She knows
what
you're
I do.
A leader.
She knows that's what I do.
So she's down.
Yeah,
she's right or die.
I would have listened
if
I'd have got, more important, if I'd have got any apprehension from anybody.
You got that from nobody.
I got that from nobody.
You got no, don't do this from anyone in your inner circle.
No, listen, I didn't have to go. Listen, I didn't even get to my inner circle. My family is huge.
Okay, so can I emphasize this? Is Bellamy's family, right?
Yeah.
Bellamy Brown.
Yeah, it's my cousin.
Yeah. Bellamy Brown run for city council last election. Yeah. How did that conversation go with Bellamy Brown?
One of the things is very good. I mean, we are own men, and so coming from that family, you got to understand we are pushed to do what we do.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
I support my family, and so I might not like the way he go about his policies. So in turn, I support Bellamy because he my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, we in likeness. And we are so different in our thinking. I'm older than Bellamy.
He's blood.
But he's blood. I don't go. Listen, I'm a lord. I don't go against my family.
Respect.
Now, I may not come out and go for his policies and say you need to do some different things and all that, but he blood, and so everything he brings to the table, that's going to be able to work for us. Now he's on the CRB, whatever, where I can help that, get that to the point where we're moving, I will. You know what I'm saying? But not from the standpoint he my cousin. He got a job. He understands that. And he'll be the first to say, it's about that work. It's not about me being related to you. I got a lot of cousins that won't say a word to me because they already know. Ain't no sense in me even doing that because he already going to say, put that work in. And that's what I do. I don't hold people because this or that. Put that work in. Have you done your homework?
How about this question? This is a great question. Vanessa Parkhill. Carl, how do you define a win for Charlottesville? What does victory look like for Charlottesville? Vanessa Parkhill, well done. This man's used to winning.
And listen, victory looks like us getting to the election, and so it's obvious with this election coming up, it's obvious the council that's there now possibly may not be the council that's there when I get there.
Well, that's 100% true. There's two new spots coming open.
I don't take anything to chance, because let me let you understand something. I just told you I can only control me, and I can get out here and do all of this I want to. But at the end of the day, and I think just like this, at the end of the day, when a person goes to vote, that's between them. That's just like when a person go to God.
Yeah.
That's between them.
True.
So they can say, I love them, but say, for the sake of, I want this person. So I just...
Regardless, there will be at bare minimum, one new person on council. For those that are unaware, there's 5 spots on council. There's 2 spots that are coming up for grabs, Mayor Nakia Walker's spot and Councilor Heather Hill's spot. Mayor Nakia Walker has said she will run again as an independent. Carl Brown is running as a Democrat. Brian Pinkston is running as a Democrat. Juan Diego Wade is running as a Democrat. 2 spots are open. Mayor Walker's running for re-election again. If she wins, that means 1 spot will be filled. If she does not win, that means we have 2 new faces.
Well, sometimes it doesn't take but one, when you're talking about chemistry, it don't take but one little piece to move, and it changes the whole dynamic.
See, for a man and across the table from me, I have to unpack that statement. Because for a man across the table from you, that statement is a loaded statement. And I think that statement means if one piece comes off the dais...
I don't care what piece is going... Listen, because whatever piece... All right, so you got a piece right now. It is what it is.
Because I think that's the issue. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah, you're entitled to that. I would never take that from you. But again, you're a little more enthralled in this than I am. You understand? And so you have a different viewpoint. You have a different objective.
I spend 4 to 5 hours on this every day.
Listen, you do this every day. This is what you do every day. I'm not spending my time every day doing this because I got other things I got to do as well.
Understood.
Now, I'm abreast to certain things, but I don't indulge because... that's the distraction again. And so if our conversation is about, well, this is that and that other, that means we ain't moving.
Oh, that's fair.
We need to get to a point where city council is approving stuff, and that's all you hear about. You only hear about one person, no person. City council approved this, and we moving forward with this. City council has put this together and working to do this. And the bottom line is...
That's 100% what I want.
Economic development, at the end of the day, I don't care how you do it. You got to be involved and you got to know it. And I know that...
Then let's turn this into a sizzle reel here, Judah. Can you mark this time down here? I'm going to ask him this question on economic development because I think this could be potentially critically important to your campaign. For you to win, it's economic development. Because
that's the bottom line. Listen, first of all, my number one responsibility is to understand as a city official, my job is to make sure we growing and spending our money the right way so we stay productive. Now, in saying that, people say, oh, we already do that. No. Here go the trick. We got to be all inclusive.
Okay, so let me set the stage here for this sizzle reel, Judah. It's going to start with my question here in a matter of moments, sir. Yaz Washington is running on a primarily equity within education campaign. Juan Diego Wade is coming from the school board where he spent over a decade. Brian Pinkston, I want to get some more perspective into Brian Pinkston's platform and to the items that are important to him. There's yet to be a candidate. Mayor Nakia Walker is certainly not doing this. There is yet to be a candidate that says priority number 1 is the resuscitation and rehabilitation of the Charlottesville economy. And this is coming from my perspective. When the restaurants and the music venues and the vineyards and the breweries and the hospitality and the wedding venues, when those aren't running at full tilt, at full force, there's a hell of a lot of jobs that are missing from this community. And often those jobs are the jobs that create the diversity from a black, white, Puerto Rican, Haitian standpoint in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. So if those jobs go away, my fear of this town turning into a white, rich playground becomes even more of a reality. And that scares the effing shit out of me. Well, I'm going to say that. That scares the shit out of me.
I get you on
We need to get those jobs back.
Here it is again. Listen, exactly.
Well, we got to get those jobs back.
You can't have one without the other. Now, here it is. So people love to bask and glow in the beauty of Charlottesville and the restaurant industry. You got the names of the restaurants, and here it is. The beauty of Charlottesville, the people who run those restaurants, and I ain't talking about the owners. Those owners know.
The Harold Hertzes of the world.
Listen, most of those people know if you want to sustain, you better get somebody from Charlottesville, the cooks, your waitresses, your bartenders, your bands. Those individuals are that would make up Charlottesville. And so when we're talking about growth, I'm not talking about, well, we're not going to do this. We need to be all-inclusive where, and it's a two-way street, where we can offer opportunities for local businesses to partake in the developments that are coming here. So no longer will a development come in and say he's going to bring his whole team. There need to be opportunities for local trucking companies, construction companies, investment companies on a whole nother level, black, white, Italiano, and make it all inclusive so they can get in. Because that's going to be your benefit. Now, everybody going to eat. That's not going to be the biggest part of your budget, but you at least got to include them in the mix so they can see what's coming forth and not just kind of say, well, we're going to do this and then bring your own team in and the city and the community don't see it. One of the things I have a problem with, we spend way too much money out of our community. We spending money on consultants, $600,000, and that's out of our community. What result we get? And then you go back and do it again. What result we get? Every time we got to do something, we got to go ask somebody else. Listen, don't nobody you go ask know more about Charlottesville than I do. And I've said that many, many times. And you get the, and so that's the other part. Just from my standpoint, I'll tell you, I've been in this community for a long time on both sides. One of my biggest issues is the powers that be in government tend to take people who are doing things in Charlottesville not so seriously. You understand what that? That's out the door. And if that's your position, you probably need to be looking for another job. Because you don't have that much power. And I think we got a lot of people within house, in our city government, who skate and kind of do what they've always done. And that's the number one thing. If you do that, it's like getting on ice. So I always use an analogy. It's always stairs. It's never an elevator. I don't get on elevators. I don't care how long I don't do it. You know why? Because if nothing else, if I do all that, I put that work in to get to where I'm trying to go. I could get on the elevator anytime and it could stop and I have to go all the way back down or up or maybe never even get out of it. Then I got to start from scratch. And so taking elevators is just like taking shortcuts. Somebody file a report, somebody file a grievance, that don't get tucked. You understand? Somebody file a report, somebody file a grievance, that don't just get minimized. Like, you file them all. You understand? The minute you don't file one or the minute you don't report one, and so in terms of, it's very selective. But I've been around for a little bit, so I've been on some boards under Holly Edwards. That's my girl. Me and Holly were very close, very close. And so when she was on the board, she would appoint me to different boards just to look it out. So I got a good insight into a lot of the boards. Like, why is our Park and Rec now doing more for the black community? And why don't we have more African Americans on that in that office know the community?
I'll just throw this to you here. Let's go, Judah, the show is hopping right now. Why do we not have more African Americans in positions of leadership anywhere in the city? Right,
and so now that goes right back. And so I don't, listen.
Why are the people in leadership in the city white, retired, and old?
Listen, here it is right here. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So nobody's really came in and challenged because all the front, here it is, distractions are created and you have no control once it's created. So we could discuss a whole lot, but if two or three people get a distraction going on and me and you trying to talk, we're going to have to say, hold up, stop for a minute. Guess where our attention goes now? Right here. And so what we were trying to get worked out is done because somebody distracting somebody else to avoid moving. And if you do that long enough, by the time you get to the next road, you only got to worry about it. So
what do you do in this scenario here? This is a real-life scenario that very well could happen to you. It's happened to everyone that's on the dais so far. We go back to in-person meetings. People are able to speak before public comment. And the 5 folks up on the dais are getting ripped by 200 people in front of a public meeting.
You talking about a new dais? All right, so you're saying hypothetically.
You get elected, and 200 people are ripping the 5 folks on the dais. Because that's happened so many times.
Well, first of all, again, it's going to be new. It's different, dude. And so I don't go into it looking, you talking about in these terms. One of the things I'm going to establish all the way through, I'm already personable. And so generally this is what you'll learn. If you're not visible, transparent, willing to listen and make yourself available to people, people get frustrated.
That's true.
And so when they get the opportunity to get to you, because now you're a public official, when they get the opportunity to get to you and you open that forum up, guess what you're going to get? All that built up frustration off of, I wanted to say this last time, but you made me wait this time, and then you get it all. And then you got that many people doing the same thing, and you got a whole bunch of people trying to get their point across because I ain't going to get to you. I got to get it off today. Anybody know me know I don't have that problem. We can talk one-on-one. And I would, all I want people to understand is this. I know there are a lot of issues and there are a lot of questions. I'm a respectful person. Just to stay respectful. Like, don't make it personal like I did it. I'm trying to fix it. But I got to be able to hear you to be able to put this in context so I can present it for you on your behalf. Because I represent the people. You know what I'm saying? All I'm doing is taking their voices and putting in one that's going to come off respectful, understanding, and you will know it will be coming from in a way that they get their voice heard and get some stuff done. Because most people saying the same thing. And so I got some ideas on how to do that. We need to be a little more efficient in how we just do stuff. I think certain time we get out there and we want to do it, but let's plan a little more. Let's be patient and understand the process. That's where it's going to benefit us. It's not going to benefit everybody thinking, I'm not coming in and I'm going to flip everything. You don't even have that power. You signed it on for 4 years, so. You know what I'm saying? So it's some work to be done. But, I mean, at this point, it's down to the people. I mean, you said it best. This stagnant. Every time we say that, like right now, people are in a position where they get to vote again.
It's the most important election in Charlotte.
Again, but remember, you voted the first time,
dude,
or you didn't vote the first time. I don't know how it went down, and I'm not going to tell you. This is my message. I'm not going to tell a person who to vote. I would love your support, and I tell you, I bring my best everywhere I go. And anybody know me? If you don't know me, inquire, because I'm sure there's somebody in this town that will know me and give you some insight. And if you want a little more in depth, I like coffee. So, and Shenandoah Joe's, my man Dave Fafard, that's my guy. That's going to be my spot if you want to meet for coffee. So, Shenandoah Joe's is going to be my spot for coffee if you want to meet. That's a shout out to Shenandoah Joe's. But don't come in with your knives drawn. Come on, I ain't trying to get stabbed. Yeah, let me hear me.
Yeah.
Before you, let's do that. Let's develop a personal, and we can agree to disagree.
You're basically saying, give me a chance.
Yeah, and don't
give me a chance.
Don't look at me, please. Don't put me in any category. Don't
let
try
me
to
prove myself.
And you know, listen, the proof in the pudding once you taste it. How about that? But you got to taste it first. Now that's on you. And again, I'm not trying to sell myself because I'm already conscious that, listen, if there will be some people who...
Oh, the tough questions are coming. These are the easy questions.
Listen, and so guess what? I'm an educated guy. And I don't say that for people to say, that's for me. You understand? Education is a discipline. Education ain't about just... People got to understand that when you go through the curriculum, that's a discipline, and you learn discipline through that. So it's not a situation where you just put a title. The degree means nothing. You know what I'm saying? Most people get a degree, don't even use the degree.
It's the process.
It's the process and the dedication and the discipline of sticking the course and finishing the deal. That's why they call it graduation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well said.
I'm one individual. You understand? That's working for the whole. I got a lot of people that I'm made of. I'm not just one person. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm coming in ready to go. People know I work.
Oh, they know.
Because I've done it. It's proven. My work, I'm not talking about what I can do. Most of what I'm talking about, we talking about getting people, leading people, and getting people to get moving and understanding and what we really trying to do as a whole and just maintain our levels. Our board, this is what any board should do. They should be so solid within themselves that they should command the respect, not demand it.
You're talking about council.
Council itself should hold themselves to a point where, check this out, behind closed doors, we can do whatever we're going to do, but we got to get stuff done. So collectively, we got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
So we can't let people go at one and then, because you break it.
That's my business. You know what that's called in my business? That's called perception is reality.
Right.
And the perception of this current council is dysfunction. So because the perception of this current council is dysfunction, the reality by many of the masses is dysfunction. And they don't realize that they're actually doing work. The perception is dysfunction, so the reality has become dysfunction, and it's overshadowed the actual hard work they're doing.
Exactly. Because listen, and see when I talk about distractions, we're talking about little stuff that minimizes all the work they've done up until this point. You know what I'm saying?
100%. That's
like,
why I
and
said
they've
this
gotten
on the
work
show.
done. And that's the sad part. That's why I don't like to elaborate on it, because this is a distraction.
And that's why I've said it on this show, and you may disagree. You likely will not address what I'm about to say. You likely will choose not to address it, and that's fine. That's why I've said on this show, and I understand the influence I have, and it pisses her off. But I don't care. There's activism and there's leadership. And I've said on this show, the activism is creating the dysfunction. Okay, and that's me saying it. That's not you saying it. I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
Guess what? Here it is again. You are one individual.
It just happens to have 250,000 people that follows him.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you are one person.
That's true.
Now, whether you've talked to her or not,
I have.
Then that's y'all relationship. Whatever she feels, whatever you feel,
sure,
you're entitled to it, and she's entitled to it. But you know what
right.
the good thing is?
Sure.
At least you addressed it with her.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
And so whatever she feels off of that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
That's the biggest
real
problem.
talk. Listen. She's from Nakia is from Charlottesville. She family.
Oh, sure. She's born and raised.
And so I can't judge her. Listen, I can't judge her off her decisions because I don't know the situation she in. I know it don't look good because she got some people coming at her, whatever. But at the end of the day, everybody need to know she family. So this is not I'm coming at her. I'm not coming at nobody. What I'm saying is this. I bring something different to the table, and whoever's at the table when I get there, I will present it, and this is the approach that I will bring to the table that we will look going forward, because the approach you have taken ain't working.
Exactly.
That's it.
There you go.
Whoever, and that's just not her, it's 5 of them. And what happens is she get the brunt. She got the title. She's probably the most boisterous. She get the brunt of it.
Probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, but she built for it.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And guess what? And listen, I gotta respect the fact that she'll eat it. That's a heavy burden.
No doubt.
To carry on yourself and say,
no
guess
doubt.
what? I'm built for it. So in terms of her I ain't concerned with that because I'm
Dude,
not there.
She can
but
go
in
to,
terms of person, I want to put that out. Nakia, you already know.
Okay, and I'll say this to her. I will say this because she watches and is told about what is said on this program on the regular. And I will say this. Okay, I will say this about her, and I appreciate this conversation. It's real, which is what you are all about. I will say this, is if she went to the Stripe and the game was on the line and the entire arena was throwing booze on her, like Kyle Guy, remember, was it against Purdue?
Yeah.
Okay? She's probably going to go to the Stripe and has ice water running through their veins and can tune out everybody else in the arena. And that is a freaking talent, Nakia Walker.
Well,
okay? That is a thick skin that few have. But my beef has nothing to do with her skin. It has everything to do with policy and leadership. And the fact that it seems to be the origination of the dysfunction seems to start there. That's my only beef. And I think if someone like you or someone like Juan or someone like Brian or someone like Yaz, sure, Yaz's 23 years could potentially work against her, because you and I both know the longer you're on this earth, the more experience we get, which helps with our decision making. I thought I knew everything when I was 23. I was an effing idiot. I was stupid. I'm stupid now at 39.
I thought I knew everything at 43.
Right. I'm stupid now at 39 and I know it, right? That's what I'm saying. So maybe her youth works against her. But you and Juan and maybe Brian, perhaps you guys are the North Stars or the consistency that we need there.
Right. And it's a two-way street now. It's both ways. I mean, because everybody need to know that when we come in, all right, so I'm going to put, once the election, when the smoke clears, whoever it is, when the smoke clear, regardless, what it is now is not going to be, regardless. And so that's going to be the upfront conversation going forward. We will maintain a level of respect at all times.
Sagoon, this is your friend from Norfolk State University. Is it Sagoon Anderson who lives in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
Okay, am I saying it right?
Segan.
Okay, you said this better than me, sir. Find the balance between activism and leadership. Galvanize your constituency and address their concerns and issues. Dude.
Okay, so you get the point. How about this?
Well said, sir.
Listen, and here it is again. When you're talking about, you cannot, as an individual, get in this position and think that your whole all of that. This is about building blocks. You got to get with a lot of different people. You got to get a lot of different responses. You got to get it from all. And so I've had the beauty of being able to do that all my life. I'm not a one-trick pony, so I don't do color. You know what I'm saying? I meet people for who they are. Now, I know a lot of different kind of people. Now, I will get to color if a person bring it to me because that's just not going to happen. That's a respect thing. So if you're looking at that, you're just looking at me, you don't even know me.
Sure.
I really get that, but it can happen. And there are some viewpoints that come off like that. There are some people who believe that they're superior. Now, in a one-on-one conversation, they will surely lead that conversation with a whole new notion of why they're not superior. Now, you may be good. You may be great at what you do, but in terms of superior, that means you over somebody, they don't make them. That's God.
Sure.
So anybody walking around here who think the good old boy, listen, time benefited you for the sake of what you were at that time. Time up now. You understand that? That ain't no secret no more. That's not a secret no more. The good old boy, and because you this, and my uncle, and you going to get them jobs, and some of that still go on in the city. We know that. Come on, let's stop playing. But we going to create the balance because we got more than just that in this city. You know, and there's some qualified women, there's some qualified men, there's some qualified individuals. So let's let their character and their qualities get us to where we're going. And stop looking at the person and say, well, I'm not going to do that because that person is this and that. Nah, we're not doing a liking game. We want quality. Quality assurance is what we're striving for in Charlottesville.
Is CJ is?
CJ Brown? What is that?
Is that your son?
Yeah.
That's your son?
Yeah.
He's impressed. He says, my father's out here speaking facts. I'm impressed.
And so listen, so when you really look at it from that standpoint.
When he said this, that he was impressed and proud and that you were speaking facts, I see the emotion on your face.
Because that's what I do it for. Because I taught them.
This is your son.
That's my oldest son. So he graduated from Virginia State. He's an artist. And then I have a younger son. And so in terms of my motivation have nothing to do with all of this. My motivation, and I just said this, my motivation is the understanding that we came from here. They understand their history, and they understand the expectation of being a quality individual and not putting yourself in a box and allowing color and all of to do that and grind, because the cream always rises to the top. Always. So if he work at the highest level, I don't care what you do, they're going to find you.
Be the best version of yourself. You're going to be the best,
and you will give yourself options every day.
Yeah.
And so there was a time they didn't want to hear that, but I can have the best conversations in the world with my sons. So I have an older one, he's in Richmond, so he's reaching you out from Richmond. And then I got a younger one. The first thing he said is, all right, let's go to Maryland and get my suit made because I'm your right-hand man. That's my son. Like, this is not normal. He's 20. 20-year-olds looking to do their own thing. But he said, I see the future, and guess what? I might have to do that after you finish. So that's what I'm talking about. This ain't no one-trick pony like I'm going to do this and I'm going to be gone. I come from here. I'm rooted here. So when you talk about going forward, he going to learn, and just that conversation, he will know. If he said that, he know how to present himself. So much I want to cover. I'm mindful of your time here. This is one of the best interviews we've done. I don't really have time. I mean, I'm free if you free.
Okay,
so
let's do this. Let's spend about 5 or 10 more minutes here. You still have every media outlet here watching you.
And so you can give my number.
NBC 29 just said, please have Carl, literally Matt Tauheim. NBC 29 says, please have him reach out to us to get him on air. I would say, please reach out to Carl. NBC 29. He's on Facebook. He responds well to Facebook Messenger.
Well, you can.
I don't think you don't want to put out your phone number
no,
now. Yeah, I wouldn't put out your phone number now.
I'm not going to do that.
Just you got so many folks watching. But we do confirm, for those that are watching, we do confirm he lives in Charlottesville city limits. Multiple people have asked that. You do live in Charlottesville city limits.
Elizabeth Avenue.
Elizabeth Avenue. So what's the timeline? What happens now?
Well, today was it, and then after this is go mode. So I'm waiting to.
Today's the announcement, and then what do you do now?
Well, I'm waiting to get to. I got to drop all my papers and get my signatures on the bank account. And so at this point,
Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe I'll do a follow-up with you and just allow people to be able to, if you want to donate and give you all that information. In about 72 hours, I have it. They're doing appointments now to turn my stuff in, so I got to make an appointment. But
so you're getting signatures now?
I've already started signatures. I just turn.
How many do you have to get? Is it 250? 125? Okay, 125.
125.
He's going to have a website up?
Yeah, and so all of that's coming. So I want to do this first, and so Once I do this, I'll do a follow-up with you and let you know all the information, and then we go mode, and I'm open to speak.
Why'd you run as a Democrat? Your cousin Bellamy ran as an independent. Mayor Nakia Walker ran as an independent. This is a Democratic town.
Again, I'm an individual, dude.
Right, I know that.
I don't, what he do,
Sure.
what she do,
Sure.
I don't got nothing to do with that, dude. I control me.
Why'd you run as a Dem?
Well, again, I went to a HBCU, and so from a family standpoint, we watch in the context of the country just like everybody else, and I'm looking. Kamala Harris is a HBCU now. She's vice president. Warnock in a tough race, he's vice president. Bland through all what she was doing, and Deborah Abrams. That kind of strength that they bring is what is in all of us. And in my community, I don't think they've really seen it. And so it's my turn. And so I just bring that leadership. I'm not going to be boisterous and all of that, but I'm a lead, and I'm going to be able to deal with hard questions and stuff like that because of what I come from. This is easy, dude. You attended HBCU long enough, you'll understand what I'm talking about, because it ain't you don't get the out of white, black. We all the same, and we all try to achieve greatness. So the competition and how hard you go there, when you get in the world, that's easy. And everybody will tell you, the experience you get at an HBCU going into the other world, because you already go in knowing you got to be better than everybody else.
This is a challenging question I'm going to ask you. And it's not tied to specifics, budget, or any topical items in Charlottesville, because I want to give the candidate time to do his homework and his research, which he deserves. This is a broad question.
Broad questions.
Okay. So, and I don't have this answer. And I haven't seen this done well locally. Perhaps I'm missing it. How do you balance leadership for Charlottesville as a community in totality? Mm-hmm. I'm talking everybody. Mm-hmm. How do you balance that leadership with taking a population of folks and African Americans who have been dealt so many wrongs and trying to figure out those rights?
Okay.
Because one of the challenges I'm seeing, and I'm talking in general terms here, I'm not trying to make this about individuals. One of the challenges I'm seeing is, with current leadership, is the balance with Charlottesville as a whole, everyone, and then fixing the wrongs of the past and bridging social justices and social wrongs. That is not being done in the most harmonious way possible, which is perhaps why we have some of the issues we have.
In terms of what I bring, I mean, I see that, and you asking how you do that. Number one, you got to bring those tables. Listen, when people feel that they're included, now they're engaged. And so you can get the real answers from a bunch of different people.
Okay.
Up until this point, I feel like there's one voice or two voices that speak for everybody, and you never can do that, because I got a whole bunch of conversations that they don't even touch, just over. But you give those people an opportunity to speak for themselves. You understand? I don't, and one of the things I'm gonna do, people are gonna say about, so when you're talking about the African American community, one of the things I'm gonna do is have a forum with those individuals, because perception is everything. We would like to think that there are all of these people. Listen, people in Charlottesville have great skills, but they have to navigate what skills where they can use those skills. You understand? So the rat race of trying to get through all of this to get to that is way too great, because there's some games at play. You might not get in on a contract. You might not be able to get this job. It's just too much play going on. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, within the city, when people can meet quality people face to face and get to know them, and I present them, what I will have the ability to do is introduce people to people who've never met and give you a good perspective of what I'm talking about, and it don't come from me. I'm a suit and tie guy. Now I can dress it down. So coming from me is going to sound sweet. But let me give it to you from somebody who has really done it. Somebody who has been incarcerated, try to come out, live a good life, do the right thing, start a business, how hard it is for me to get a contract, because...
Is that you?
No, that's not me. I've never been incarcerated. Not to say, but I just haven't never been incarcerated. But I got examples of those examples of the people. Do I have those examples? Tons. And the problem is they have to go other places to get those opportunities. Why do they have to go other places to get those opportunities? If Charlottesville wants to develop and grow, which we do, because those two things go hand in hand, you're going to have to understand that you're going to have to utilize the resources within your community to keep our money in our community. What do I mean? We need to train. My motto is not just give people. I want to position people where we can train in those entities that we know are getting built. Fiber optic. We building buildings. Guess what? Everybody gonna need fiber optic technicians to come in and line those. I got a guy that trains in that and looking for people to do that and they're interested. They got to know there's a market for it before they do it. So we can get a commitment from the people who are building to say we have these that we're going to do locally, which is going to save them on the hotel, it's going to save them on the food they paying, and it's going to save them on the travel. You pay them a little more, you still coming out good, and you getting the job done, and the money stay in the community so that person can pay their bill, and now they seeing some prospering. You understand?
Sure.
Now, if you're going to build, and you're going to bring somebody from California and let them bombard the neighborhood and stay up in our hotel and do the job, and then y'all gone, nah, we're not doing that no more. And I'm not saying we're not going to build and develop. What I'm going to say is we're going to be all inclusion. We have Hispanic and Latino community. I live in a very diverse community where we got a little bit of everything. We got some old, we got some young, we got some
What's
white.
the neighborhood called?
I think they call it Woodlands, but
Okay.
it's the Woodlands. I live over by CHS
Okay.
at Elizabeth, so we diverse in
Okay.
a lot of different ways, and it is. But I have guys in my neighborhood that they get it on every day. They get up and I watch them prep their team and all of that, and I'm saying, "No, where y'all going today?" Well, we got to go over the mountain. Why? These people live in your community. Give them an opportunity to work on some of your stuff, and you cut a lot down, and you keeping your money in your community. And that's what we need to be doing. If we can spend within, that money goes right back. It's not like you spending out, because guess what they're going to spend their money? In our rents, in whatever their mortgage, our grocery stores, it stays within. We can't send our money, keep sending our money out of the community, and we need to be attracting other people to bring their money to our community so we can bring more money and partner just like that. That's what you're looking to do.
It sounds like your platform is pro small business first before anything.
No, criminal justice reform before anything.
Criminal justice reform
Criminal
before
justice
anything?
reform before anything. I think that is going to help us.
What does that mean? Less population in jails?
Less population in jails, more vocational trainings for those individuals who've been incarcerated as opposed to all the other things.
Rehabilitation as opposed to
support and
incarceration.
Support and resource as opposed to that. So if an individual, because most individuals, and just have the other discussions, better relations with the police in a controlled substance where they don't have to run up on a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Where they can have a alliance or understanding that this ain't it and get a better understanding of all of that. You understand? Sure. And help the police department. There are a lot of different ways that we can do what we're doing in this community in a different kind of way. And I'm not saying, well, we're not going to do that no more. No, I'm saying is, look at what we got. You got this. You have this. You have this. You do this. This your population. Now, if I take one of those, let me just say, if I take one of those, well, you here, you here, you here, you here, you here. Those are 4 different places they got to go. And on paper, it look good. Well, you got to go here. To that person covering ground, don't have a car, you're going to miss them. Put it in one spot. Let them do the training. You'll get it, and people will flood to it. And because it's one-stop shopping. And so they will identify with the resource and support. And so when they get to a point, they will utilize the resources and support. There's a lot of young brothers out here doing stuff that are a single entity. You put them all together, guess what? When a person come in for one thing, they get it all.
So much. We're going to welcome
Well,
him.
this is day one
Yeah,
of the whole
I
thing.
can't even get to these questions. There are so many questions. He's a popular guy. Tremaine Wilson is giving you props. He says, great coach, Tremaine Wilson. Just some of the people that are supporting you: Margaret Matthews, Kent Trent, David Bridges, Jason Thraves. And we can't even acknowledge all these people because there's so many. Scroggins, Michelle, Thomas Logan, Tim Smithers is watching. We have Belmont, North Downtown, Greenbrier, Nashville, Asheville, Charlotte, folks in South Florida watching, our friends in Las Vegas, folks in Maryland. We have every media outlet in town watching the program right now. All right, why don't we close with this, and we'll close this into a sizzle reel here, and we'll get this into a concise answer. This will be the why vote for Carl Brown question again. Before I do that, I want to thank Judah Wickower for putting this show together. We went a little extra long, Judah. I know that's extra work for you, sir. I'm very grateful. A couple things I want to get out of our chest. To Carl's point, Oprah Winfrey said this. Oprah Winfrey, yes, that Oprah. She said, everybody wants to be seen, heard, and understood. Oprah Winfrey. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, and understood. That's what we want. That's the essence of being human. Perhaps some of the conflict we have on council is we have individuals who want to be seen, heard, and understood, and folks aren't listening to learn. They're listening to talk. I'll get out of here on Carl Brown, though. Mr. Brown, with so many people watching you here, you're running for Charlottesville City Council.
Well, I mean, that comes with the territory, you know what I'm saying? Those are the people that are going to be voting, so.
Why is Carl Brown running for council?
It's my time. My experience, all that I've been through, coming from Charlottesville and just to get to this point, all my experiences, all I've done is just my time. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that again, the people spoke. The people around me spoke. And so you got to answer the bell. It gets to a point where you got to answer the bell and stop, it's time to play. So it's game time. And so just off of that, I know those voices. And so I can make those voices louder without them becoming chaotic, where they can construct them and understand, where people will get a good understanding of what we're trying to achieve across the board. Now, we got a lot of work to do. I mean, this is the early phase. And even after that, we got work to do, but I'm built for that. My experiences put me in this position where it's my time. And so though a lot of people may not know me, those who do know me will say the same thing. That's why I'm running. My people say, it's your time. You need to do this. And so though many people run for Charlottesville, nobody has been from Charlottesville, born and raised, can give you all the historical proportions of what you want to know and what you don't know. But I was primed for this. So being mentored by Drew Brown, to T. Lewis, to the Garvin DeBerry, and going through those, they weren't just chance. They prepared me for this. And so this is that time. So it's my time to get Charlottesville back to the beginning, back to the basis where we need to go and reboot this thing back up.
You're about to have a busy year.
I'm going to have a busy day.
Yeah.
So,
he's got a lot going on. His name is Carl Brown.
Yeah. And so I'll get back with you, Jerry, and post once I get all this stuff told. If people want to donate, support, we can do all of that. I'll probably get back with you on Friday.
Well, and you know what's exciting is Kathy Galvin, former Charlottesville City Councilor, has agreed to host a live debate here.
Sure.
Well. And we have Juan Diego Wade, Yaz Washington, now Carl Brown, and Brian Pinkston that are going to be a part of this Democratic debate. It will be the most watched debate in Charlottesville history. The current most watched debate in Charlottesville history is the debate that the I Love CVille Network hosted in 2019 between Michael Payne and Lloyd Snook. Surprise, surprise, we hosted a debate with Michael Payne and Lloyd Snook, and both got elected. Imagine that. So we're going to have another debate, Carl Brown, Yaz Washington, Brian Pinkston, Juan Diego Wade, with Kathy Galvin monitoring the debate. That's going to be serious. My friend, you are welcome anytime you want. Shoot me a text, phone call, message. I sincerely mean that. I'm saying this. I think Charlottesville is fortunate to have you in the race. Charlottesville's also fortunate to have other candidates in the race.
Exactly.
Because competition breeds excellence. I remember when we were playing team sports, and we all have a story like this. I love tryouts every year because I was training before the tryouts started. I was running 4 or 5 miles a day, playing in the backyard, playing in the front yard, playing with my friends. When tryouts happened, it was no big deal. The real training happened in the 85, 90, 100-degree heat before the tryouts. Right. And when we tried out and when the team was finally whittled down and the roster was set, we're competing to be the best versions of ourselves that day. So where I'm going with this is Charlottesville's the benefactor here by having extra competition in the race.
Exactly.
Do you feel the same?
Yeah, so Charlottesville, get ready. That's what I say, Charlottesville, get ready.
Yeah.
And it's on them. I mean, basically, don't look at me. It's on you because you vote. I don't have the power to say I'm going to take it. No, you vote and let the chips fall as they may. I will represent myself as I always represent myself in a respectful manner, and I'm open to listen. And I will be encouraging all the other candidates. This is not a competition. And again, because people say what they want to say, I don't want. One of the things we need to get away from is that beat people down. I'm not beating nobody down this election, and I want to make sure all of us maintain a level of respect where people not trying to pick and choose and breaking people apart, because they're still part of this community. Now, this election, again, is that. So we're going to always maintain cordial to one another and maintain a love, because all of us are from Charlottesville. We're just trying to come with one common goal and how to get better, and that's the bottom line.
Respect.
Respect.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, man.
Carl Brown, guys, he's in the race. Judah Wickower is the director. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show, powered by Ting Fiber Internet. Save $288 on the best internet in Charlottesville, only through ilovecville.ting.com. Folks, the Charlottesville City Council race just got a lot more interesting because of Carl Brown. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care.